Oh, hey gang, Darren with Cinema at Home again. I'm going to give you a quick little educational video and actually a secret to the trade of pulling wires through walls. Very typical situation here where I've got a client that actually just purchased this house. Basement was finished out, but she's going to put carpet in here, and she did not like the TV because the TV used to be on this adjacent wall over here that you really can't see. So I moved it to this other exterior wall here. And we're going to mount some speakers over here and here. And I got to pull wires up through the walls for speakers. I got to pull wire for a receptacle here, and I've got to pull wire for the HDMI and the Cat 6 cables through the wall up here. So the question is, how do I get all those cables hidden in the walls? Well, first step was I took off the baseboard and I cut through the baseboard top or the bottom plate to where I could make an access behind the drywall. And there's insulation in this wall because it's an exterior wall, which makes it even more difficult. So once I got that done, I plotted out where my studs were at and made sure I didn't have any plumbing and everything in there. I used a boroscope, which I showed you in a previous video, where I can see in there and make sure I didn't have anything to cut into. So what I've got right now, guys, is I've got the mount already ready for the TV here, okay? So I've got to put power, because I've got to have somewhere to put power in here, okay, for the television. And then I've got to have a hole here to run the cables, the HDMI and the two Cat 6 cables, right? So here's my hole here I've already cut. Down here I've got the receptacle that's still hot. I pulled it off the wall. Now what I've done is I take electrical tape, I wrap it around the exterior of this receptacle, so if I touch it inadvertently or hit it with a chain or anything, a tool, I'm not going to get buzzed out of my brains, which, knock on drywall, I haven't done that in a long time. So let's get down to the meat and grit of this, all right? So this is what I want to do. I want to take what I call lead wire and run it through the wall, okay, all the way down to the floor where this hole is down here, and pull it out so I can attach it to these cables here and pull this right back up through the wall again, okay? So how do I do that? Well, you know, if there was no insulation and anything and this was nice and hollow, chances are I could probably feed a wire down through that empty space, because I've got about, 3.5 inches of space back there typically, and pull it out, okay? But I've got insulation. That's not going to happen. So this is where the magic comes into play, okay? I use a device that's called a MagnaPull, okay? And a MagnaPull is just what it is. It's a magnet that pulls, okay? It's basically composed of 3 individual pieces. The first piece is the chain, a metal chain, right? Again, that's why I said that I always cover up the receptacles when they're hot, so if I hit it on there, which I will, I'm not gonna get, a super cool YouTube video going on, right? So that's the first part. Second part is the bullet. I call it a bullet because it looks like a bullet. See that? Okay. It's shaped for a bullet for 2 reasons. It's aerodynamic, so it can fly at high speeds if I throw it, but I'm not going to do that. But it's also designed so it can slip down, like between drywall and insulation. Or another thing it can do is you slide it under the edge of carpeting between the carpet and pad, and it will go right between the carpet and pad, pulling this chain with it. And if I hook a cable on it, I can drag wire underneath the carpet from one side of the room to the other. Pretty cool, huh? All right, so you're saying, well, how do I get this from there to there, from point A to point B? The third part, and the most important part, is the MagnaPull XL. This is basically like a paint roller, except there's no brush, and there's a heavy-duty magnet in here, and I mean heavy-duty. Watch this. I'd say it takes probably a good 30, 40 foot-pounds of pressure to pull that apart. Okay, so I'm going to set this, since it's a magnet, right there for now. So what do I do with it? Well, I'm going to run this through the wall. First thing I've done is I've added a little zip tie on here. This becomes my anchor. So I'll slip it on here on this mount. I'm going to take the other half of this with a bullet end, and I'm going to stick it in the hole that I've already cut. Okay, I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm putting this into the drywall hole. I'm going to try and get this to fish down. It's pretty heavy. I don't know. I don't know as far as ounces, but it's pretty heavy. Okay, so I'm going to drop that down through the walls hardest as best I can. And right now it's not so hard because I've done this 2 or 3 times. So the insulation is kind of pushed off the wall just a little bit, so it's easier for it to go through. But my plan is to get that bullet at least in here somewhere, because that magnet, as you see, hits here. It's going to be going jamming me into this thing here, and I don't want to do that. So I kind of get that fish down there as far as I can, okay? Then you take the magnet, 30 pounds of pressure, and you run it along the wall. Did you hear that? I know you heard that. Told you, 30 pounds of pressure or more. So I find that chain. You probably can't hear it, but I've got it. And then I keep going down until I hit that bullet. And you'll know when you hit the bullet. Right there. See, I'm going to go. I know it's attached to that bullet. So now the trick is to get this chain to come out down here where I've got a hole in the on this top plate. Okay? So I just do this. Watch this chain. That chain's going up to the wall because I'm pulling it. And if I didn't have it anchored, it would just come flying right through the wall. I have to start over. So I get it down there. Now watch here. This bullet's going to pop out of this hole like a mouse. Watch. Bam. Bingo, bango, bongo. There's my bullet. Just like that. Okay? Pretty sweet, huh? So this is, see, it wants to attach right onto my magnet. So I'm going to move my Mr. Magnet out of the way. So here's my bullet. Usually I would pull a leader, hook a leader cable on there and pull it up, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull the whole cable up so you get to see that happen. So I'm going to take my cable. This is 3 cables in one. This is my HDMI, 4K 3D Ethernet capable, and then I've got 2 Cat 6 cables. One's going to carry Ethernet directly to the television, the smart TV, so we don't have, even though it is a wireless TV, I prefer to use hardwired Ethernet because it will give us the fastest speed, no lag, and it's going to work. Okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm taping my bundle of wires directly onto Mr. Bullet. I assume it's a Mr. It could be a Mrs. or Ms. But it's shaped more like a male. So, all right. So I've got that pretty much taped on there good enough that I need to. Okay. Tear my tape. Another trick of the tape. Put a dog ear on your tape. Bend it over so it sticks to itself. That way when you want to go pull it off, you're not sitting there trying to find the edge of it. So now I'm just going to push the bullet back into the wall a little bit, okay? And I'm going to go back up here. This is where I've got my little anchor. So I'm going to pull on my chain. I'll release my anchor and put it on my hand so I don't lose it. And when I'm pulling it, I'm going to push. So here I'm pulling on my chain, okay? And I'm taking and I'm feeding my cable into the wall, just like that. If you see my wires down there, they're going to come right on through. And I don't want to get them all bound up. HDMI cable does not like being bunched up, so I kind of use my feet sometimes. All right, here's Mr. Bullet. Here's those cables. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just pulled 3 cables through the wall. Just FYI, these cables run through the wall, which is, I'm 6 feet, so there's about 6 feet through the wall. Plus it goes through the wall this way, which you can't see, another 8 feet. So I've run, 12 feet of cable or so, 14 feet of cable without it being exposed whatsoever. So in a few minutes, I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to make another drywall hole here for a receptacle, run Mr. Bullet down through the hole. He's going to pop out inside this receptacle. I've already drilled a hole into the receptacle here in the cavity so I can pull the chain through there. So the chain will come through, hook my Romex into it, pull my Romex probably down, work with gravity, and then I can tap into this receptacle, put a new Furman surge protected and AC line conditioning receptacle up here so the TV's protected from any brownouts or electrical strikes. So that's basically it. Just a trick of the trade. That MagnaPull device is not cheap. I think they run, I think I bought mine, as I recall, it's close to 200 bucks. But you know, it saves me a lot of time and it gets the job done right. So have the right tools when you do these things. But that's it. Thanks for hanging out and watching my video. Later.